Hello, my name is Roy Cornwall. I've had quite a lot of things happen to me in my life. I think I've lived a life that most people could only dream of. There's never ever money involved with it, but the events in my life have been so fascinating. Dixie Crippin, Cam Buckner at Dixie Crippin did a story on me. And that's only some of the things that have happened in my life. But I would like to tell you about a story today that I've not told in public before. Um, when I was 29 years old, I was married and we were renting a small bungalow. And there was a huge tree out back that overhung the house. A couple of limbs, these really big old trees. Probably the biggest tree I've ever seen. And one of the limbs overhung the house. Uh, Now, at this time, I just want to preface this by saying I didn't go to church. I didn't really believe in God. For the last 29 years, I figured everything that happened to me that was nice was luck. Now, I decided to cut this limb off before it falls down on the house. So I've done a lot of trees. I know you've heard this before. I've done a lot of trees. So I threw a rope up over top of the apex of this tree, and it came down, and I tied it off to the branch. Because if I cut the branch off, it'd fall straight on the house. So when I cut the branch off, it swung away from the house, and the weight of it took it right down to the ground. Bent the tree over and took it right down to the ground. Whew, my anxiety left me. That limb is on the ground now, right? So I look back to shut the chainsaw off, and just as I'm looking to my right, I see out of my left eye, this limb is starting to come back up at me like a torpedo, butt in first. This limb is about this round, like this, and about 50 feet long. Very long, with other branches coming off. So I had already had my escape route planned. So I turned to go up to jump out that to go the way I had planned, and my foot got wedged where the limb goes into the stem of the tree. When I turned, it got pricked in there, and I couldn't jump out. So I turned back really quickly. I figured I still had enough time just to unlock my foot and jump out of this tree backwards. But when I looked to see where this limb was, it caught me off guard and it caught me under the chin like this and knocked me out cold. I don't know how I didn't fall out of the tree because I was sitting on another limb when this happened. The limb went by me like this, and then as the tree apexed over to this side, it lowered the limb down on top of me. Now, I'm out cold at this point, and the limb has already done some damage to me. But I wake up, and uh, I hear a voice saying, "Push," loud voice. And so as I'm looking up, because I'm looking up into the top of the tree, I could see the tree was going to start swinging back to its high point again. So I figured when that happens, if I push as hard as I can, this is my only shot to live. So I pushed with all my strength, and when the limb went up, the tree went back up to the center part. I was able to lift this thing off. That limb, because I was on a limb this way, and that limb crossed it like this. So I spread my legs, it hit the limb, and it slid down into the V of the tree where it hit the stalk of the tree, the stem of the main part of the tree, and it stayed there. Now I'm about 10 feet up on this branch, and I'm saying to myself, if I don't get down into the V of the tree in seconds, because I'm in shock right now and I don't feel the pain, I said, I'm going to fall out of this tree. I'm about 18 feet up. So I was able to, without using any power, because it's all downhill, this limb, I just slid down into the V of the tree. And when I got down into the V of the tree, that's when all the pain set in and the whatever happened to me inside my body. The chainsaw's still going at this time. I never did get a chance to shut it off. Um, this is hard for me because I have to relive my death. It's not an easy thing for a man to relive his death. So I I could feel the life running out of me. It's a very strange feeling when you know you're gonna die, but you're not dead yet, and you're just like on a downhill slide. As soon as you get to the bottom, you're dead, right? So, okay, I died. The lights went out, my eyes closed. I figured that's it. Everything went black for about 3 seconds. But through that blackness in 3 seconds, I was still Roy Cornwall. Mentally, I hadn't died yet. My body did, but I hadn't died yet. So, all of a sudden, everything gets white. Everything, uh, I see the sun is up on my left side here. Nothing else. I don't see trees, grass, nothing. Just the sun. I don't see nothing but white everywhere except for the sun. And I know it's the sun because I look at it, it hurts my eyes, right? But what caught me off guard was that there was a second sun over to my right. When I looked at that, it didn't hurt my eyes. And I thought that was quite odd. Though I was mortally wounded, I thought I still was. I said, I want to know what this is. So I stared at it because it's not hurting my eyes. And you know, when somebody turns a 100-watt bulb on, you can't see past it. But after a second or two, when your eyes adjust and you squint and you focus your eyes, you can get around, you can look and see what's behind the 100-watt bulb. Well, when I did this to that light, the light went away, the brightness of the light went away, and a window opened up, an oblong window down my right side, where there was three beings sitting down. It looked like they were in front of some machinery, like a desk, you know. And some guy, and I didn't see him walk, but some guy going up and down behind them. Now these beings look like uh, the, the movie Cocoon, the aliens in that. They didn't have wings, but they sort of glowed, right? Now when that being saw me seeing him, he got mad. I've never seen a being get so mad. He's screaming at these three people to shut the window. They couldn't do it right away because I'm staring and concentrating. So after about a minute, that window closes. And they're gone. It closed really quick and they were gone. I knew they were gone because my consciousness referred back into it's not my body. I wasn't alive. I wasn't there. But into my consciousness, I referred back into my brain, and I'm saying to myself, okay, this has got to be over, right? These events that happen don't happen very often or very long, so I'm thinking that this thing is empty. But so I'm in this white area, and I'm saying to myself, I just want to know the truth because these four beings tried to fool me to go with them, and I didn't want to. Not with them acting like that. So I said, I just want to know the truth. I just want to know the truth. And after I said it the second time, I noticed that the sun isn't hurting my eyes anymore. So I stared and did the 100-watt bulb trick with that. And when I did that, that light went away and I could see clearly. There was an angel there. He was reaching out to take me and he grabbed me and he brought me halfway between where I was and he is. So I'm about halfway now. I'm making a nice slow speed over to the angel. I get about halfway, and I'm astonished. This is probably the most important part of my life. I look over to my right, and on a 45-degree angle, heading straight for the angel, is Jesus Christ. So those devils, those angels, those devils, those fallen angels, they saw Jesus coming and they left right away. So Jesus got about halfway where he was and where he was going to over to the angel and stopped. He was looking down the ground as he was walking, and as he stopped, he raised his head and looked over at me. For about 15 seconds, I got a tremendous download. I get information from him that I'm still processing now, even now, about, I don't know, 30 years later. So um, he puts his head back down and walks over to the angel, and he says to the angel, he says, don't take him now. The angel says, but he's going to be in a lot of pain. And Jesus says he doesn't care. So they were going to take me, but my job on earth hasn't done yet. So just before they put me back in my body, I hear a question. He's Jesus' voice. He says, now you know Will you follow? Now, I've seen Jesus. He's talked to me. I know his voice. I sort of know his mannerisms and how he walks, how he dresses. I've seen all this, right? Uh, so it took me about after they got me down out of I came back into my body. I could hear the ambulances coming from way off before I could get my eyes open. I knew that ambulance was for me. It was a long, long way away. Um, they got me down out of the tree. They got me to the hospital, emergency ward, pumped me full of drugs. Um, I wake up. I'm in the emergency ward, and my wife is sitting beside me on my left. Behind her is a window. Okay. So I wake up and I look over at my wife and I see the light behind her and surrounding her. I said to her, I said, "What's that light?" She goes, "What light?" And I pointed with my finger because I couldn't lift much more than my finger. And she goes, "It's just a window, Roy," quote unquote. Now I'm mortally wounded, and I'm not saying to myself, "How am I going to get out of this? Am I going to live? And all this stuff. How am I going to pay the rent? Is Santa going to leave me? All this stuff." No, my concern was, is this event over? Are they angels that I'm looking at? I wanted to use a sound mind to make that distinction. So I used her mind and asked her. She said no. So although I was mortally wounded, I had to know. That's how badly this affected me. This thing. Now, I died. I was so bad that when I got into the hospital, I was black from here down to my crotch, totally black. I had blood coming out my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my ears, right out of anywhere on my skin. The blood oozed out. Um, they said I wasn't going to live. Then they said I wasn't going to walk right. Then they said I was a walk, period. And then they said I wasn't going to walk right. They said I broke my neck. They said I broke my back at one point. Um, the reason why I'm telling you this is because I know there are a lot of people out there that were like me who didn't really believe. No people believe in it and that and all, but never put Jesus in their life from a day-to-day experience. That's incorrect. I admit I was wrong, not believing. I should have been believing. And it's no joke, this stuff. People have a tendency of making fun of things they don't want to believe. But this is absolutely true story. I died, number one. That's big enough. Then I saw Jesus Christ and an angel. That's overwhelming. So if anything ever happens to you in life, God forbid, and you know you're going to die, just before you die, look around because the angels will be there. Um, yeah, that event has changed my life. Though I haven't been able to have any kind of money because I haven't been able to work right, and I have been able to draw breath, and I'm still here on earth. So that's my story of seeing Jesus. Oh, and by the way, I want to tell you a little bit what Jesus looks like. I see all the images that they're taking now and showing us on the computer and that come from the Shroud of Turin. And I have to say that the image that they're coming up with is wrong. He's very bony in the chin and bony in his face, and that's not what I saw. Maybe that's the picture of him on Earth, but the picture from him coming when he went to heaven is a more rounded face, there's no look of anger or anything on his face. It's all a nice, soft looking face. Brown hair, about 5 foot I don't know. I was just a little ways away, and without reference, it's hard to tell. But he looked to be about 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", somewhere in there. And he knew me. He knew he knew me. He knew what was in my mind. So there's no joke, people. Go out and get baptized. Relieve yourself of all the sins, and start going to church. You only get one shot at this life. Make the best of it, everyone. So that's my story of when I died and I saw Jesus Christ. And I just thought I'd tell everybody. Um, I'm doing this on May the 15th at 9:30 in the morning. This has bothered me for a while whether I was going to do this or not, but uh, yeah, try to reach out, touch somebody, help somebody. Thanks, everyone, and may God bless. Bye bye.